Hi everyone, so the first Abattoir of Zir hotfix is out. I already made a video the other day talking about what is coming, and here we have a few more details now. So TLDR, the entry level of Abattoir of Zir is much lower now. It's much easier to get into the system with a faster ramp up all the way to tier 10, where the original scaling is still in place from then on. So, for example, the entry level is not like T100 Nightmare Dungeons anymore, but it's actually like T90 Nightmare Dungeons. The monster level is also lower accordingly, so it starts at 144, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of ramps up much faster from there until tier 10. And then tier 10 plus is still kind of the same, with the exception that there's also a 20% damage penalty for the monsters now, so it's generally much easier to survive, and a lot of builds will definitely feel that, especially the squishier ones, I think. Then they have removed the Bloodseeker, Vampiric, and Suppressor affixes, so those made them essentially unkillable for some builds, or if you were not really careful, especially with the Vampiric on the higher tiers. And they have ramped up the Glyph XP quite a lot, as you can see. So tier 1 is unchanged, and they gave us a few breakpoints here, so I'm sure there might be like some more data out there, but the general picture is pretty clear. So in tier 5, it's like roughly times 1.5 XP. At tier 10, it's like roughly triple already. And then at tier 20, it's like roughly times 5 or so. And then at tier 25 is roughly times 6. Now, I don't expect anyone out of like, exploits to actually ever clear tier 25, or even tier 20 is like extremely high end right now. This is like only like top tier, like solo barb or something. But who knows, maybe you're gonna discover a few things, especially now with a few nerfs and maybe more nerfs coming in. But for the most part, you can see that the Glyph XP has definitely ramped up quite a bit. And this means that probably like some of the stronger builds are going to be like somewhere here in this range of like, grinding out the easier levels for more Glyph XP. I'm not sure if this is enough for me to motivate me to actually grind the Glyph to 50. We'll see. I might grind it out, but at least the average expected time to get to Glyph level 50 definitely went way down with this change, especially on the better builds. If you can grind something like, 50 to 80k Glyph XP per hour, I guess we could expect something like, maybe up to like 50 to 100 hours or so to get to Glyph level 50, which is still a pretty crazy grind, but at least it's like somewhat achievable. So this is what we have here. And I also want to show you a bit of a demonstration of like the difficulty ramp up now, at least like how I imagine this. So I made this little beautiful graph here. Here on the bottom, we have the tiers basically. And then here we have like the monster HP scaling. So the way this works is that previously it was plus 19% monster HP per tier. At least this is what we figured out. I'm not sure if this is exactly accurate, but it seems like the monster HP was roughly doubling every 4 tiers. So basically, if there's like the highest point here at tier 25, this is like, like billions and billions of HP per monster basically. And then maybe like 4 tiers before that, like here at 21, the monster HP would be, something like this here, for example. So there's like this insane exponential scaling, and you kind of see this as well. Like if you go another 4 tiers, it would be like something like here. Then another 4 tiers down would be somewhere here, basically. So it goes kind of like that. And basically now what we got is that for tier 1 to tier 10, there is even a lower scaling. And you can see here that, it's like a much lower entry level now compared to what you need on the higher end. So if you just like start making a graph out of this, you see that, well, up to tier 10 or so, it's going to be quite easy. And I think a lot of builds are actually going to get like real hard stuck at tier 10. So you can kind of grind it out a little bit and, try to push a bit further. And then basically here we have like a really low starting point, like somewhere here basically. And then like the first few tiers don't really do much. And then it kind of like goes up from there. And then there's kind of like this tier 10 jump a little bit, I guess, where you can notice like a bit of like a spike basically, because we have the old scaling. There's not really a big jump, I guess, but basically they mentioned that the scaling kind of like goes towards the original scaling. But it's just something to be aware of, that tier 10 is kind of like a breakpoint, because there you have like all the original scaling and you have this insane ramp up of monster HP. Not so much of monster damage, but in the early tiers it also takes less damage because monster level is lower. A lot of builds that don't have very high armor will survive much easier in the first few tiers, because monster levels, they're the most important factor for your armor damage reduction. And if a monster level starts at 144 and you're not capped at 13.6k or 13.7k armor in your Abattoir of Zir setup, then you're gonna definitely notice a massive increase in survivability. And then very quickly, you're gonna, feel the impact of the higher levels again, up to tier 10 basically. So this is kind of how that goes. I don't know the exact values of like, how much HP the monsters actually have. That's kind of hard to figure out. And it's just a bit of a demonstration how this works now. So hope this helps you. I wish you good luck in the Abattoir of Zir, and I'll keep you guys updated if there's more patches coming. I guess there will be more hotfixes, so stay tuned for those. I have a bunch more guides coming out for Abattoir of Zir now as well, but I think that this is probably a really good move here, and it seems like Blizzard is listening to feedback. Blizzard is trying to, like, make some adjustments, experiment, and I think this is a good move what they're doing here, and I would definitely expect more. So that's what I have here for now. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and see you guys next time.